So, you've noticed that as soon as your hair starts to grow and it reaches a certain point, it just all of a sudden stops growing. And then you ask yourself, but I've been doing everything right. Why is it that my hair always stops growing at this length? And then in your head, it's like, maybe my hair isn't meant to be longer than shoulder length. But the thing is, your hair might be in its resting phase. If you don't know what the resting phase is, then you're gonna have to watch the video until the end because I'm gonna be discussing 4 important points that you must know in order to understand how hair growth works. See, so first of all, I'm gonna start off with the hair life cycle. So each and every hair on our head has its own cycle. So which means each and every hair grows independently on its own. It's on its own life cycle because it's better. Just imagine if every single strand on our hair, grew at the same cycle, which means that after our hair has reached the shedding phase, we would all be bald headed. So yeah, number one point that you have to remember is that the first point, which is the growth cycle and stages. So the first stage in the hair growth is the growth stage, which means that your hair is just growing. It's growing. The growth phase, it ranges maybe from 4 till 7 years. For example, I cut my hair 2019, so now it's like about 3 years. So I don't know my hair growth phase, how long it lasts. So for now, I'm in a growing phase, and then followed by the growing phase is the resting phase, which means your hair isn't really growing. Okay, it's still growing every day, but not as it usually grows. So now it's just resting, waiting to be shed. So in the resting phase, that's where your hair stops producing melanin. So after the resting phase comes the shedding stage. And in the shedding stage, that's just where it means that the new hair is pushing out the old hair. So whenever your hair sheds, you will see that at the root of the hair, you'll see there it will be white because it's shedding. Yes, and then after the shedding phase, it's the exogen phase. It just means that your hair is just preparing for a new growth cycle. You see, after it sheds, then new hair will start growing. And then next point is terminal length. Terminal length is like the length, as you remember, all our hair go in different stages. So terminal length is just the length that your hair will grow without any shedding, no breakage, no trimming. You see, your hair is just growing, free to grow, free to do its own thing. So then remember, terminal length is when your hair reaches terminal length, new hair gets pushed out. So and then hair porosity. Hair porosity is very important. It's very important because if you don't know your hair porosity, you buy hair products. It's not even for your hair, you see. And an important point that I want to mention about hair porosity is that, let me explain the hair strength. So our hair strength is, it has like 2 layers in most of our hair, but for those who have thicker hair, they have in the very middle part of the hair is the medulla. So what it does is just basically, for the people who have thicker hair, just makes your hair look thicker. And then the middle part of most of our hair is the cortex, and then after the cortex, that's where you find the cuticle. So porosity means is the ability of your hair to be able to absorb water or chemicals into the cortex, into the middle part of the hair. So remember, there's like 3 different types of hair porosity. There's low porosity. Low porosity just means that your hair's cuticles, they are very close to each other, so it's difficult for water or chemicals to get into the cortex, into the middle part of the hair. And then medium porosity just means it it doesn't take too long for your hair to get wet, and it also doesn't get too long for your hair to get dry. So moisture can get into your hair properly and it can stay in there. High porosity. High porosity, my goodness. High porosity means that your hair, it can get wet very fast. But the moisture can also leave your hair very fast, you see. So most important point of this video, which is hair care regime. The thing is, your hair care regime is what makes or break your hair growth. It is because there's three: effective hair care regime, and the next one is the recessive maintenance regime, and the third one is basic maintenance regime. So the ideal hair care regime to have is effective. Effective, it just means you get the right products for your hair gets moisturized very well, your moisture and proteins are balanced, strengths and ends protective, and it's either you have natural hair, or if you have relaxed hair, you don't relax your hair too often, you see. So then that is an effective hair regime. It means, your hair is growing and it's thriving, you see. Next regime, which is the recessive regime, it just means you do a lot, you put your hair through a lot. It's poor product selection, you don't moisturize your hair properly. As I said, color abuse, you use weave and extension too much, you don't give your roots time to breathe, you see. And then you trim too much your hair too often, or you don't trim it at all. It is the basic maintenance regime. So the basic maintenance regime, it means that you are growing hair, you see growth, but you also see breakage. So it's like your hair gets stuck at a certain length. So basic regime is just like, for example, people who didn't take their hair care seriously, they like just decide, okay, this month, wow, my hair's dry, let me take very good care. And then the next month it's like, nah, I'm not in the mood to take care of my hair. So it's just basic. You just do things when you feel like doing it. So it's also incorrect product use, few moisture sources, and instead of using moisturizers, you like use oil or grease to moisturize your hair, which oil and grease, they like protect the moisture. They keep the moisture in the hair. They don't moisturize it. You see, and then high maintenance with no protection in the hair, and then moderate relaxers. So yeah, think about it. Let me know in the comment section, how is your hair care regime? Which one is it that you're using? So the next video, I'm gonna be making a video of how I grew my hair, because growing my hair in the past, it used to be hard. My hair, only grew, and I'm gonna insert the picture, until a year, and then it just stopped growing. But then I went all in. I went to go into research about natural hair, and it seems like what I'm doing right is working. So yeah, if you would love to learn more about hair care, so that you can learn about your hair and stop being dependent on other people for your own hair, then just subscribe to the channel, and then you start to learn more. I'll teach you more about natural hair. If you have questions, please let me know in the comment section. And yeah, most of the time I see that I get views and likes so much. Please like this video so that it can reach a lot of people. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for my new subscribers. I really appreciate you subscribing. Yeah.